Good morning and welcome to Wickersley Angling Centre. This morning I'm going to do a video and it's a little bit different today. It's not all about what I use, or it is about what I use, but it's not about everything that we sell in the shop or you buy in your local tackle shop. It's things that are personal to me and why I use them and what I do to them more than anything. This winter we've started to do a bit more commercial fishing, as in I run a league at me and my pal Trev Parkin have run a league at Hallcroft on a Wednesdays. To be fair though, we haven't fished many this winter already up to press with the lockdown and the COVID and what have you. We keep getting them cancelled, but we've been doing a bit more different fishing this year, and as an angler or a match angler, you're always looking for little edges for yourself and making things easy for you while you're fishing. I fish with a great bunch of lads, like there's myself, Trev Parkin, Pete Parkinson, Mick Axon, Andy Renton, Tommy Pickering. You know, there's a good mix of different lads, and we all share as information together. As much as we can, because we're competing against one another at times, but we all because we don't do a lot of that kind of fishing, we're all learning at the same time, so we're all looking at little aspects in the fishing to make it easier for ourselves for this commercial fishing, and also the things then progress and we bring them into a silverfish fishing. So these are a couple of things that I've come up with, and a couple of things that my pals have come up with, and then I've adapted them to my way of fishing as well. So the first thing I've done is, as you can see on my setup, I have my rod rest in front of me going across my arm, so for my feeder fishing rods, but then I've got different attachments coming off that, and one of them, which I'm really chuffed with this one, this was a Seamo pole roost, and when you're method fishing or even silverfish fishing, you end up with loads of uplands, like 4-inch uplands, which you have nowhere to put them, and you've got a wafter on one and you've got a pellet on another and a piece of corn on another. And if you're like me, I'm not the tidiest of anglers, so I chuck stuff down and things get knotted up and it blows away and you can't find it. So I came up with this little gadget, and all it is I've got an accessory bar, a cut down piece of tubing, which is out at top of one of my legs, so that just screws into there basically, so I can put other stuff in it anyway as a gadget, but this is what I use this one for. So as I say, this is basically a cut down old Seamo pole rest, and all I've done is I've cut all the hooks off with it. It's only EVA foam, so I just a Stanley knife, I went straight down it. As you can see from the pictures, it's not right straight, but that don't catch me the fish not being right straight, so that don't bother me. But all I do with it is, with it being EVA, all my little uplands, which this one's got a band on and it usually has a 6mm or 4mm hard pellet onto it, when I'm fishing method and I think, right, I'm fishing now with a wafter on, but next chuck I want to put a pellet on or something, I get my hook length with my little band on, I put my pellet in it, and it just hooks into the EVA. So it sits there, and I've got one with a pellet on, I've got one with a wafter on, I've got one with a piece of corn on, I've got a longer hook length on with just a standard hook tied up where I've got for my skimmer rods, but all they just sit dead handy on that, and they don't blow away. Right, another product that I use is, most of the items what we buy from a tackle shop are standard. So, i.e. your accessory arm is a standard length, your feeder arm's a standard length, your side tray brackets are a standard length. Everything you buy is standard, and I do know why they do that. That's not what we're here for today. But me being a match angler, not a very good match angler I must admit, but I do like trying, is I like things to suit myself. So I have short brackets, so As a match angler, I can't do without certain items, i.e. an hacksaw, a pot rivet gun, a Dremel, and obviously a drill, which I haven't brought today, but we all know what a drill is. So I always tinkering about with my gear, especially while the lockdown's on. I'll be sat in garage and I'll get my box set up like this, and I'll think, how can I improve my setup and an easier setup for my way of fishing? Not anybody else's, this is just for my own way. So with me hacksaw and my pot rivet gun, I'll get all the standard sized accessory bars out, I'll put them on the box and I'll think, that one's an inch too long for how I want to fish, or that one needs to be a bit longer, so I'll find something else where I've got hidden away back at garage somewhere, and I'll think, no, of just chopping them up and re-pot riveting them and hacksawing them down to make them exactly the size and length that I want. That is, I can't do without these items being a match angler. One of the items that I use a lot, and it's not just for cutting pole sections down, which this is initially what I saw a lad using one of these many years ago in a tackle shop, and I wondered what he was doing with it. And in the past, forever, we used to, when we wanted to change his PTFE bushes in his poles, or we were cutting feeders down, plastic feeders and bits of lead to stick onto them and mess about as we do in sheds as anglers. You always, when you cut carbon, you always get a rough edge on the inside. It like splinters, and then you have to mess about then with emery paper or something like that, smoothing it all down. And I saw a pal of mine using one of these many years ago in a tackle shop, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, what a brilliant piece of kit. Not just for what he was doing. Straight away I thought, God, I could have done loads of different things with this, with my kit. But it's a Dremel. There is different forms of this. It don't have to be a Dremel. There is different forms of them and different makes. But mine is a Dremel one. I have actually got two. When I'm just messing about doing my pole bits and pieces, I use my handheld one. But if I'm cutting bits of metal up or stronger things, I will use the one which plugs into with a cord into a socket, which is much more powerful than this one. But for doing all your pole repairs and chip bits of sections on your pole, you cannot beat this machine. It's a Dremel. And basically, at the moment, it's got a diamond tip cutting blade in it. There used to be a fortune to buy them individually, but nowadays you can buy them. Well, that used to be 20 quid years ago when I first saw them, but you can now buy like 10 in a pack for a £5 off eBay, Amazon and different places. But basically all you do is, if that's end of your pole, turn it on, and that's how quick it is to cut carbon. You've got no splinters, it's dead straight. These are the must when you're doing all your little bits of carbon repairs. I also have a different attachment for it, which comes with the Preston side puller bush. So when you drill inside of your pole, when it's got a wrap on it, a reinforced wrap, you use that first. That just fits into that little collar, so you just change them over like that, and then you drill side of your pole. They work a lot better than a normal drill because they're on a faster rotation, so you don't seem to get splinters off them or anything. We've used these thousands and thousands of times and never broke a pole section with them. Both of these bits are fantastic. When you're feeder fishing, nowadays, one of the in things with feeder fishing is timing your bites, or knowing how long you've actually been in water when you chuck your feeder in. So I thought, I'm going to give this a go with this stopwatch malarkey. I've never done it before, but I'm going to get into it a little bit. And actually now I quite like it. And some days, not every time you go fishing, but some days when you get using a stopwatch, you do actually get into a pattern of timed bites. Where do you put it? I've had it in my side tray, but then I can't see it. I've had it in my drawer, but then it starts raining, and I'm having to go like this all the time to look down to see what time it is. And I kept sitting there thinking, where can I put my stopwatch so I can see it all the time and it's not going to be in my way? Now, with most new boxes what are out these days, with the legs what you get a threaded cap on the top of your leg, which you can screw out and then screw things into the end of your leg. I never ever screw out into ends of the leg, so them threads to me are basically useless. I never use them. I don't mean they're no good, because I know a lot of people who do use them, but way I fish and what have you, I don't usually screw anything into the end of them. Anyway, one day I'm sat there and I had one of them eureka moments. A few weeks previous, I'd bought one for my car, and basically they are a magnetic iPhone holder. So it comes with a bit of sponge on back with a bit of sticky stuff on. You stick that onto your dash, you put a little magnet strip onto the back of your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever, and then they click like that so they're on your dashboard so you can see them when you're using it as a sat nav or whatever, or if you've got hands free and you're talking to somebody. And I thought, bloody hell, how can I make that fit somewhere on my box? Because they are movable as well, so you can position it to whatever position you want. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I always take them caps off because they come loose and that anyway, and I usually end up losing them. But for some reason, I'd actually saved a couple. I thought, I'm going to keep a couple of them in my drawer at home, and at some point I might use them. So that night, straight when I got in from fishing, I got on Amazon, I ordered myself another one of these little magnetic car phone holders. You can get them for between £5 and 10 quid. They're not expensive, and all I did then is the cap, what goes onto my leg, I glued it onto the cap, so that fits permanently onto the screw. So then that screws into your leg. I usually put my rod rest on first, and I like to fish that strike, so the rod's across me like that, and I strike that way. It's just, there's no right and wrong ways. If it's blowing other way, wind, I will sit that way and strike like that. But if it's a nice normal day's fishing, I always like to fish with the rod across me. So when I get a bite, I just pick up and I like stop there. So I'm not pulling right back on the fish. It's just the way I fish, it's not a right and a wrong way. But I screwed that onto there. And then, as I say, you can angle that wherever you want it. I'm sat on my box, I've got loads of room around me. I stuck one of the magnets onto the back of my stopwatch. Well, I glued it on actually, because the sticky stuff, when it gets wet, it does come off, so you end up having to glue it on anyway. So glue one of them flat magnets onto the back of your stopwatch, and it just clips onto the leg at box. You can alter it, you can have it, if it's raining, you can take it off if you wanted, but mine's waterproof anyway. But I just thought, that's brilliant, I can see it, I don't have to turn around or anything, I'm watching it all the time, because basically it's in my eye line of my quiver tip when I'm fishing, and I just thought, that's a brilliant little gadget.